It's the new cliche where a whistle goes, no one dares to follow. But we can dare dream that this was scripted, and it never was on the script. It is the year of the underdogs where, or when, sometimes not even what you think of, it's all about what you never thought of. But in football, never say never. Portugal, Lisbon have been crowned the European champions. Anything? According to the Marseille Daily, it was something reported like colossal. It was colossal, some sort of in colossal in English, but colossal in what the French population were feeling. But it is also colossal in what it is that they're feeling right now.
Yeah, I think we have to congratulate Portugal for the victory, being crowned champions for the first time. I think they have done really well. And the goal was just extraordinary because it was difficult skill and difficult technique, because to dribble and then you hit it across with that amount, with that power, I think you just need a strong center forward or a strong player to be able to do that. Actually, the more the game went, as we said here, the more the players get tired, the more the physical aspect goes down, the more the mental aspect goes down. So the French, their thinking was coming down. They kept on attacking, but the Portuguese maintained their composure and ensure that let's play tight and ensure that we take them to penalties. Difficult though, it was very, very difficult. Unfortunately for France, unfortunately for Portugal, it came up because we are all worried of the change, because we thought that he was coming up with a defensive midfield player just to tighten up the game. But he came up with a striker who scored. So who knows? And this is why it's called sports, because of the surprises.
Audacious. Audacious. How deflated can a nation be?
You don't have the birthright to be the champions. You have to win it. And Portugal did it, in a very ugly way. But still, they are the champions.
They're the champions. Champions of Europe twice, this is the second, and they managed to clinch the second. Why not? Very fair.
No, I think you asked us at halftime. You said when Ronaldo came off, was there a blessing in disguise? Yeah. Maybe you knew what was going to happen, Musa, because it's beyond. It's not logical, in all honesty. So you have to just look at the fact that everyone is thinking, okay, maybe he wants to hold it and go for penalties and hope. No, he showed daring, and Fernando Santos, I think he will. They're all heroes, but especially the coach, he needs to take a lot of credit.
My reason for suggesting that it might have been a blessing in disguise for in Portugal was because I didn't think that Ronaldo would have carried the team, because that was just my gutsy assessment of his performance, and of course being in the finals. But I don't know. I'm not any genius. I'm just but more. Portugal. The goal, how did it come about? Because I could see, Paul Pogba remonstrating very, very seriously with Sissoko after the goal went in. And of course, he had his hat almost on his sleeves, wanted to really punch the guy for whatever reason.
Yeah, I guess he did leave him a bit of space to get the shot out. And Pogba probably was telling him to get closer to the guy. But it was against the run of play. Portugal got bolder as the game went on. The longer the game went, Portugal were bolder. They spent most of the game defending, so they had a little bit more energy in the last 30 minutes, and it showed. And the French kind of folded. I think mentally they're still not tough enough. They are the most talented squad in the Euros. They still have a future because most of their players are very young. They can look forward to this and learn from it because they've got the World Cup coming up. And with the preparation, they really never had any test matches. And the only really strong team that they've faced is Germany. But they haven't faced a defensive team that is as compact, as disciplined as Portugal. And yes, it was a blessing in disguise, because once Cristiano left, every player felt like they did not need to play for one person. And every player showed what he got. And they do have quality players. Eder is probably not the one you would expect the goal from, but kudos to him, he put himself in the position, and he had guts to take that shot, and his prayers are answered. Portugal are champions. France are deflated, but they cannot blame anybody for this. Yeah.
What wrong, Matar, do you think Deschamps has done, because the presentation is being done at the moment, what do you think he could have done?
No, it's difficult because I think potentially you have people like Johan Caballo on the bench who could have, players who are a lot more creative. But I think he wanted to rely on the pace of Coman and people like Martial. I think maybe bringing off Payet so early, in hindsight, it was a mistake at the time. It was a big, big decision. But in hindsight, it was potentially a mistake because Payet, even half fit, even 50%, he's more of a threat because we all know how good he's been. He's also a threat from long range. But listen, it's very harsh to criticize Deschamps right now because I think he's made so many strong decisions to get them to where they are. It's just one step. France could have won it as well. They could have won it in 90 minutes. This is the way. This is how football works. Football doesn't really favour anybody. It doesn't follow the script. You may be the host country. You may have all these things riding for you.
Matter.
Yeah, it doesn't care. It doesn't care. So Portugal, they had their own reasons for wanting to win, and I think you get what you deserve in the end in football. That's what I believe. So I don't think it's any unfair for France. I don't think they need to have any sort of almost a funeral about it. Listen, they've done very well. I think the country needs to galvanise and get behind each other to say that, listen, we've done so well to get to the final. We didn't win it, but try to use that as a positive to say, look what we can do and try, and as Mulu said already, try to build for the World Cup.
Okay. Deschamps was vying to become the second coach and player to have clinched the Henry Delerne Trophy. It was never meant to be. He would still be remembered as the coach that carried them in '84. But here we are. Bertie Vogts did it as a non-member of the German team, but here we have him equally on the same. We have to wait and see as a player who's going to be. Probably when Zidane comes in to take over the national team.
Well, that's possible too. But definitely, I think he's done extremely well. And because what he's done most, and that is extraordinary, is he kept on changing the squad, and the squad kept on getting better. Because Sissoko came in, and then he was getting better. Unfortunately, some of the top players who started, like Payet, being on top of it, being the star, all of a sudden started dropping or declining. So he had no option but to bring in fresh legs. I think the other issue that bothers him is there are a lot of these players that you see, unfortunately, they came to the tournament and it wasn't good enough. People like Marshall, players like Coman, they didn't definitely deliver. And that could be very disturbing as a coach when you rely on certain players and during the competition it's not working the way you want it. But as I said in the beginning, it's sports. Things don't go the way you want them all the time.
And it doesn't have to, as suggests, it doesn't. We wish we've been screaming, and of course we all have favorites, but we never saw. We went by what it is that our instincts as to what the game was all about and who could have become champions of Europe. It's never easy, but as I said, the tournament has been a wonderful success for the organizers, that's UEFA, and all the numbers that it is that they've been cramping in came out to be, to suggest that everything went so well. 25,000 jobs created over, that's a legacy that has been already in place in France, and galvanizing and creating a very good feel good factor that has really, propelled the country as a very model of what football is or what sport is all about. Here we are, gentlemen, we've come to the end of that road, and it has been a good one. Your feelings so far, Mo?
Well, we've had a surprising tournament, but it's been a pleasant surprise. We've seen tons and different types of formations and tactics and setups. We've seen new players emerge in this tournament. We've seen some great goals sometimes. We've seen some defensive masterclasses like today. And I think in the end, football wins. France lose out. They do have the cake, but just no icing. And for that, they can work on it for the next time.
Matala, have your last words, the tournament, and of course, this whole thing.
There was a lot of criticism about 24 teams saying that it devalues the competition, etc. But for me, I want to look at the positive. It's an opportunity. Who would have thought that Iceland and all these teams would have got this stage? Football is it's not always about the favourites, it's also about the underdogs. And for me, it's been good to see that the underdogs have been having their day.
Thank you. I wanted to have my pundits really have their last say, and thank the Honourable Alhaji Silla, and of course Ibu Fai, and all of you who have been here with Osborne, Robert Cisse, all have been here just to shed more lights and tell the Gambian people what it is that football was all about at this level. And we are very much grateful, and I thank you so much. You guys have been wonderful. From everyone, I'm coming from our CEO, directors, managers, from the staff of AfriCell, from my very humble self, Musa Cisse, I cannot find words to thank you enough for being our company and partners and our support all throughout the Ramadan and what it is that we are all about. We are most grateful. We thank you as always, and we remain grateful to you.